Today I'm going to show you how to play a game of math football. And in order to be able to play, you're going to need your football field, which we have right here. You'll notice that the players, we've got two players that I'll talk about in a second, are on a field where there's the 0-yard line right in the middle of the football field, and that all of the yards to the left are represented by negative numbers, just like on a number line. So it goes -1, -2, -3, etc. All the numbers to the right of the 0 are represented by positive numbers. So these yards are represented by positives, just like on a number line. You're going to have two football players that are going to be playing here. We've got player number 1 and we've got player number 2. Player number 1 is the home team player. His goal throughout the game is to try to make it all the way here to the home end zone, to his own end zone. Whenever he travels from 0 all the way over to a +10, he's accomplished that goal. He's made it over to the home team's end zone. Also, player number 2, that's this guy right here, he's facing the other direction. He's the visiting team player. His goal over the course of the game is to hopefully make it from the 0 over here to his end zone, which is right at the -10. So again, the home player is trying to make it to the home player's end zone, right there at a +10. The visiting player is trying to make it over to the visiting team end zone, which is right here at the -10. They both always start at 0. Well, how do they move back and forth from one side of the field to the other? That's what this red die and this black die is for. As you can probably guess from the diagram and the fact that there's an arrow here, the red die is going to tell the player how many yards it needs to move to the left into the negative direction. This black die right here tells the player how many places he needs to move to the right in the positive direction. So let me give you an example of how we would play this. So I am going to pretend that I'm player 1, or the home team player, for a second. I'm going to roll both of my dice. So I got a red 3. Red tells me that I need to move to the left in the negative direction. Now for my home player, unfortunately, we don't want to move to the left because he's trying to go this way to get to his home team end zone, which is on the right. So it's a little bit unfortunate, but this tells us we need to go 3 yards to the left. So he's going to start here at the 0 and go 1, 2, 3 places to the left. But the nice thing is that this black 4 tells us that we're going to actually move 4 places to the right. So now that we've moved to the left 3 places in that negative direction, we've got to move back 1, 2, 3, 4 places to the right. So we did from the 0 where we started, we did have to travel 1, 2, 3 places to the left. But then we were able to turn around and go back 1, 2, 3, 4 places to the right. So we did make it just a tiny bit closer to our goal, which is to end up right over here at the +10. So not a huge move, but it was at least a little one. So now I'm going to take on the role of the visiting player. So I'm going to roll the dice. So I've got a red 1. Red tells me that I'm going to move to the left. So that's a good move because my visitor is trying to make it over here to the -10, don't forget. So he gets to go 1 place to the left. Unfortunately for him, this black 5 is telling me that I have to move 5 yards to the right. So now I've got to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places to the right. So I started out at 0. Player 2 had to move 1 place to the left because of the red 1. Then he had to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places to the right. So he ended up at a +4. Considering the fact that the visiting player is trying to end up over here, that was not a great round for him. The next time you roll the dice, you're going to keep the players exactly where they left off the last time, and you're going to roll the dice from there. So I'm going to go back to player 1. I'm going to roll the dice. So player number 1 has to move 6 places to the left because we got a red 6. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. But then this black 6 tells us we're going to move 6 places to the right, just like our diagram says. So I'm going to move back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So remember, this is where we started. We started right here at the positive 1. We moved in the negative direction 1, 2, 3, 4 places because red tells us to move to the left. But then we were able to move back 6 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 places to the right. So we end up at the positive 3. So player 1's getting a little bit closer to his goal. Now I'm going to take on the role of player 2. I'm going to roll the dice again. Ooh, still not a great move for player 2 because this red die tells us that we've got to move 2 places to the left, which is good because player 2 wants to move in a negative direction. But then that black 2 tells us we're just going to move back 2 places again. So he's really just where he started. So he didn't really get to go anywhere. So he started out at the 4. He got to move 2 places to the left. But then, because of that black 2, he had to move back 2 places to the right. Now, some of you might start to see a little bit of a shortcut here. I wonder what it might be. Just ask yourself, did I really even need to go through the process of moving 2 to the left and then back 2 to the right? Or could I have looked at these 2 dice and put it together and just figured out that I was going to be staying put? You might want to ask yourself that. I'm going to do one more round. I'm going to go back to pretending to be player 1. I'm going to roll. So player 1 needs to go backwards 4, and then he needs to go forwards 2. I'm going to go ahead and go in the negative direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to go back 2. But I'm kind of thinking to myself that there might have been a little bit of a shortcut. Instead of going back 4 and then up 2, I wonder if there's a way I could have done that a little bit faster. Think about that, guys. Now I'm going to be player number 2 again. I'm going to roll one more time. So I've got a red 1 and a black 3. So I need to go to the left. So player 2 is going to go to the left 1 and then to the right 1, 2, 3. Again, I wonder if there was a shortcut to this. Instead of going to the left 1 and then back 3, I wonder if I could have taken a little shortcut. Hopefully, while you play this game, you'll be able to notice that maybe there's a faster way to do it than the way that I'm doing it. So when do you know that you're done? You keep rolling the dice and you keep playing until one of 2 things happens. So first of all, your home player, player number 1, might make his goal, and he might make it all the way over here where he's shooting for the positive 10. That's where the home team's end zone is. If he makes it to the positive 10, he gets 6 points. And then the round is over, and both players are going to go back to the 0 and start all over again. In the same manner, let's say that player 2 gets to his end zone over here at the negative 10 before player 1 gets to his end zone at the positive 10. So if the visiting player gets to negative 10, this time he's the one that gets 6 points. The round is over. Both players go back to the middle, and you play another round. So your goal is to get to your end zone. Player number 1, again, wants to get to the home at positive 10. Player number 2 wants to get over here to the negative 10. But what happens if they have a huge round of bad luck? Let's say player number 1 keeps getting big negative numbers. So he ends up backwards from what he wants, and he ends up all the way over here at the negative 10 instead of at the positive 10 where he wants to be. If he ends up in the wrong end zone, instead of getting 6 points like he did last time, now he's going to lose 2. The round is over. Both players go back to the middle. The 2 players play another round. In exactly the same way, If player number 2 has a bunch of bad rounds and ends up going backwards from the way he wants and ends up here at the positive 10 instead of the negative 10, he also loses 2 points. The round is over. Both players go back to the middle. Start over to play another round. Play as many rounds as your teacher gives you time to play, and hopefully you'll start to see some patterns as you start moving back and forth while you're playing a game of math football. When you add together all the 6s and the negative 2s over the course of all of your rounds, that is how you determine the winner by whichever player has the highest number of points. So let's say that player number 1 manages to make it to the positive 10 3 different times. So 6 points times 3 times means he would have 18 points. Let's say that player number 2 only gets to the negative 10 twice. So 6 points times those 2 times means that this player is only going to have 12 points. So player number 1 would be the winner.